Hello, Internet, and welcome to Ask Wildman, an open Q&A produced by Wildman Web Solutions, where we answer your questions about technology, marketing, uh, running a business, anything else you want to ask us. This is an open question and answer, so feel free to throw any questions you have below here in the comments. We'll be watching this. We'll be watching that and answering them as they come up. My name is Miles Bassett. I'm the technical director here at Wildman Web Solutions, a digital marketing agency based in Lawrence, Kansas. We work primarily with small businesses to help them leverage technology and get their online presence polished up and just get themselves online in order to grow and achieve their goals using technology. We get a whole lot of the same questions over and over again, so we started doing this live stream every week to address some of those questions and also just make ourselves available to anyone who had some questions about getting themselves up and running online or using technology in their business. So we're doing this every week, live stream to our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn accounts. So check in every Thursday at noon. We're going to do this live stream every week, Thursday at noon. So pick your account there. If you are not watching this live, you're catching this later, you can still send us your questions. Just email us, askwildman@wildmanweb.com. I do have that address scrolling below me, so you can grab that and again email us there. We'll either respond in email or use that question next week's live stream. All right, we're going to go ahead and get going here. I'm going to bring in my partner, Mike. There we are. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I am fantastic, but getting better, Miles. How in the heck is it going today?
I'm doing good. We had a couple of questions we wanted to hit here today, but again, we'll be watching the comments here. So if you have any questions, you want us to take a deeper dive into something, you just want to throw your 2 cents in, please throw your question in the comments below, or you can email us, askwildman@wildmanweb.com. We had an interesting conversation just earlier this week with a client that kind of prompted this conversation between Mike and I, and we decided we wanted to talk about it here on the live stream. And that is talking about authenticity. Mike, do you want to kind of give a high-level introduction to this topic? I think it was your idea to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So like Miles was saying, we were having a discussion the other day with a client around their YouTube page. And, they're doing a great job. They're doing what they should be doing, putting out valuable content and not trying to overproduce it, not trying to overscript it. They're really just being authentic and telling the end user, what things that are valuable to them in a very straightforward manner. And the person was, kind of wondering, is that good enough? Should we be doing more scripted things, more choreographed things, so to speak? And, our response was no, keep doing exactly what you're doing. That's actually what the audience craves, especially in today's social media environment. They crave authenticity. They crave people being transparent and straightforward and sometimes even vulnerable. And we'll get to a couple examples of that here later on that I've been seeing out there lately. But this is also not only something that we've been talking about for a couple of years. I actually wrote an article about this. Maybe Miles can link that down there in the comment section over almost 2 years ago, about how authenticity was one of the keys to any great marketing campaign. And I'll toot my own horn here just a little bit, Miles. I think I was kind of right, given the dramatic rise of an app called Be Real, which has taken over the social media landscape just this year. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, I'll give you a little bit of background. But if you have a teenager or a Gen Zer around, either in your house or in your business, ask them, and I bet you they're on it, or at least know a lot about it. But it's a French app. It's been dubbed the anti-Instagram, and it has been exploding over the course of the last year. It went from 10,000 daily users last year to over 10 million as of just a few weeks ago. And as of a few weeks ago, it
Very
was
impressive.
not bad, right? As of a few weeks ago, it was the #1 free app in the iPhone and the Apple App Store. It's now, I think, 7 or something when I checked it this morning. So it's dropped a little bit. It's still the 3rd highest ranked social media app, though. I mean, it is really, really taking hold. And the whole thing is based on, as I said, this anti-Instagram feeling of being staged or canned, of people, not posting their real selves, but only posting their successes or when they're doing something great or oversharing, all these things that we see on Instagram. And so what this app does is it sends you an alert once a day, and you have 2 minutes to create a post. And so the idea is that it's spontaneous. You don't have time. You don't know when this notification is coming throughout the day. So you're just supposed to post, what you're doing, what you're authentically being right in that moment. They have a unique camera setup where, you have the regular selfie mode where the camera is inversed and flipped onto the person holding it. But then they also use the outside camera at the same time that is posting away. And so then it becomes a kind of a double shot, if you will, where you can see the person in the frame doing the selfie and what's around them. Interestingly enough, you don't have to post. It was inside the 2 minutes, and this will be something to watch as the app grows if they do away with that. But right now, if you do post later on, your post basically has a tag that says it was late. It was 4 hours late, or 30 minutes late, or 7 hours late, or whatever, to give your friends or your audience the indication that you weren't being, I guess, as authentic as you could when that notification came in. But you know how it goes. I mean, maybe you're getting out of the shower or something. You don't want to post right then. We understand it. But the point being is that this has really, really gravitated quickly in this whole idea of being authentic and not over analyzing what you're posting or staging it or scripting it. And interesting enough, TikTok, who has been ripped off many times by other social media platforms, is now implementing this dual camera functionality on their platform. And there are strong rumors that Instagram is also going to be toying with this whole spontaneous post idea and sending out a notification to people. So it's already catching on the larger platforms. This is something that we saw about a year and a half ago when Clubhouse was surging. If we remember the Clubhouse, the audio only app that is still around, still doing great. I still on it from time to time, but not surging the way it was. But one of the big draws about Clubhouse is, like I said, it's an audio only app, and that people were just real on it. You weren't putting makeup on and putting a suit on and taking different camera angles and things like that. You were just talking to people in real time, unscripted, one-on-one or one-to-many, and conversing with them. And that was one of the biggest appeals of that platform, and still is the authenticity of it. So this all goes to reinforce this idea that you don't have to create scripted commercials. In fact, that's the opposite of what the audience wants these days. It's one of the big things that we, pet peeves, I guess, that we see is when people take a scripted television commercial or something like that and try to run the same thing on social media. It's social, right? It's a different mechanism. It's not the same top-down philosophy that traditional advertising has. And so that's something that has been really, really interesting to see. I actually got on Be Real, Miles. If people want to friend me, add me, I'd love that. I don't have any. My son hasn't added me back yet. I added him this morning, so I'm hoping that's because he was in school. But you can find me on there. Please add me. I'm going to start playing around with it more. You might be asking, well, what does this have to do specifically for my small business or my business? Should this be an app that I'm looking at? And the point along those lines is yes. Something new comes along. Same thing like we said with Clubhouse and TikTok when that was first getting popular. Is that even if that platform, even if that specific app doesn't take off, or for financial reasons they go out of business, the behaviors and the way that you interact with the audience will, if it's popular enough, if it's trendy enough, will likely catch on existing platforms. Like we saw the copycats that Twitter and Facebook did with Clubhouse, so to speak. So So the point is, you should go on there and at least understand and see the way that people are interacting with it. There are some brands that are utilizing it. There's no paid portion of it, so you can't run ads on it. So it's right now it's just an organic channel, just like TikTok was for its big infancy. But all these the great thing about these new platforms is if you are able to go on there and get a following and create content, it will be seen. You will get organic reach, unlike on Facebook and some of these other platforms these days where you have to pay for it. But yeah, Chipotle is a brand out there, Miles. It's actually doing a Halloween promotion right now. I can't remember what it's called. It's Boo something. Burrito. That's what it's called. And basically, they're going to send you a notification, and if you're in the Chipotle on Be Real and you do a post and then tag them in it, they will enter you in a chance to win. I think it's up to $25,000 in free Chipotle. So that is just one idea of how brands are starting to use this. But the main point of pointing this out was that just whatever you're doing, whatever social media channel you're on, your content should be authentic. It's one of the reasons that we do this show, one of the reasons that we encourage, other clients and other businesses out there to do live shows, because it doesn't get any more authentic than this, right? I mean, we totally unscript this thing for good or ill, and it's just like you were sitting across from us having a conversation in a meeting. So that's in a nutshell, Miles, one of the reasons, or many of the reasons, why authenticity is trending very, very hot right now with audiences, and it's something that they're craving from the brands and the businesses that they interact with.
A bunch of really good high-level points here just about the values of authenticity in the modern era of interacting with people online. I will put the link to that article in the comments below, maybe right after we finish this up. But I kind of wanted to bring that back into some more practical advice and why we're talking about it here on a business show. Because of course there is the social aspect to it of how people are interacting online and what people are looking for. But as business owners, and especially as business owners who are putting this content out on social media and are trying to leverage social media as a marketing tool or as some sort of mass communication tool, we have to look at how people are communicating what they're looking for. And the truth is that people can sniff out the fake stuff from a mile away. We've gotten pretty familiar with social media over the last several years. And if you are being kind of superficial and just putting stuff out in a salesy way, then people see that immediately, and it's just not going to be as effective as it could be as if you were actually engaging with that social media platform and you're following on that platform in a more authentic way. So that's really the practical application here and the utility of understanding this form of communication. The other benefit is that you can put more stuff out there. We talk to a lot of people that don't want to post something, they don't want to put video out because it's not what they would think of as professional level production. This isn't a Hollywood grade film that they're putting out there. It's pretty raw, it's pretty uncut, they don't really know how to do it. And it's really just documenting what it is that they're doing that day. Maybe it's just cell phone footage of what it is that they're doing. All the angles aren't right. The audio isn't perfect. And, there's all these issues with it. And so they don't want to post it. They don't want to push it out there. And what we're saying is that could actually be a plus, not only because it is, it comes across as more authentic and people are going to see it as something that's a little bit more legitimate. You're actually putting yourself out there and more people are going to engage with it in a more meaningful way. But also on the other end, you don't have to put in all the time and energy and money into producing this stuff all the way up to that grade. If you can create some real valuable content that is interesting or educational or entertaining, that's surrounding yourself and your business and your line of work and your specialty, and put it out there, it can be an incredibly valuable way for you to engage with your customers. And it doesn't have to be this scripted, canned, professionally produced, expensive production that you then publish out to the world. So kind of two ends there, 2 points that make this highly beneficial for for business owners. First one is just that this is how people are wanting to interact with you. We can see that on other social platforms, and with the advent of things like Be Real really catching on, that just tells us this is what people are looking for. And so we want to meet our customers or our followers, or the community around us where they are. And then the other side is you can put out more high quality, beneficial, converting content that your followers, that your community are going to appreciate, without putting in all of the time and the money of like professionally producing all this stuff. You don't have to worry about it being 100% polished and ready to go. I mean, don't put something horrible out there, I guess. Put a little effort into it. I'm not saying that this should all be low effort stuff, but don't be afraid to post stuff out there, to do live streams, or to step outside of your comfort zone a little bit. In fact, that might be what people are really looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And you said before this conversation, you wanted to maybe broaden this out a little bit outside of just social media, but to your entire online presence. Yeah. So you pointed out one good example of that in reviews. So if people are leaving you reviews on Google, on Facebook, on Yelp, on wherever they happen to be leaving you a review, that is a very good opportunity to directly and authentically engage with someone online. So you can respond to them and really be real. If it is a positive review, this is a good chance for you to engage with them on that level and really personally thank them for taking the time to give you that positive review, let you know what you're doing good, and let them know that it's really appreciated. And then if it's maybe a not so positive review, then that's an even more raw way that you can engage with someone. If you messed up, you can admit to it there, and you can cop to it and say, here's what we're going to do to be better. That's not a canned response. It's something that is tailored specifically to them. It's a great opportunity to show that you are indeed a real, actual human being, not just a bot responding to them that way, that you actually care about them on an individual level. And everyone else is going to be able to see that response and see how you're engaging with people in a real, authentic way.
Yeah, part of being authentic is owning up to your mistakes. And so, yeah, when you have a negative review, look at that as an opportunity. Assuming it's a legit review, and we've done shows about how to handle negative reviews before. Sometimes they aren't. They're just harassment, but sometimes there are no one's perfect. Businesses make mistakes, people make mistakes, and the business just needs to own up to it and show not only that customer, but all the customers, what they're going to do to not let that happen again, and to correct it moving forward. And that was actually something that came up in that same discussion with a client the other day. They were joking that they had so many great reviews that they almost worried that no one would believe them, because for a long time they didn't have any negative reviews. And then when they actually got a couple negative reviews, they were a little bit relieved, because they were like, wow, now it makes our hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews actually look believable, because no one's perfect. And yeah, it's the same thing in your messaging on your website, in your social media. Just going back to this idea of authenticity, you've got to show the good stuff and some of the bad. And this also means it's an opportunity that it's okay, like I said before, to be vulnerable, to show what happens behind the scenes. People are actually interested in that. Reality television far outweighs scripted drama in terms of audiences, and so that's what people want to see. And let's not sugarcoat it. Things are getting a little hairy out there, economically, and for certain industries, they're already starting to see a slowdown and taking a big hit. And we had a client the other day that flat out said on social media, and it got picked up by a local newspaper, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to be here much longer. And that was an extremely vulnerable moment, but it was real and it was authentic. And that, unfortunately, it's not the only one I've seen out there lately. But there was an overwhelming response back to that business, not only online, but physically, people coming in. It's a restaurant to the location and being a patron and saying, hey, I hear you. I want to support you. We want to make sure that you're around. But if if they had just been posing, or excuse me, posing, I guess, if they had just been posing of great things, that are happening inside their dying restaurant on Instagram, nobody would have gotten that authentic message and responded to it. And so it's just another lesson of the value that you can bring by actually being authentic with your audience.
And people forget that there are actual human faces behind these businesses that own it or that work there, and that put their time and their effort and their money and their sanity into building these things. And if you can just show that a little bit, and you can get a fairly measurable, real return on that. If nothing else, people are going to be much more likely to engage with it, to remember it. People remember stories 100 times better than they remember just facts and figures or specific items. So, if you can tie your brand into some sort of real story that is actually engaging and captures someone's attention, then you can do a lot with that. And the way that you do that is by, I'm now understanding the gravity of that app's name, but by being real. If you are real, if you're being real, people can see it. So if you're on social media, if you have a website, if people are leaving you reviews, just look at this as a good opportunity to show yourself for who you are, to display your brand in a real way, and to be more authentic online. Again, we've got an entire article about this and a couple of other tips surrounding just displaying yourself properly in the market. I'll be putting a link to that in the comments below. If you have any questions on this, if you have your own experiences with this, you want to throw your own 2 cents in, again, please throw those comments in below. We'll be watching those and addressing questions as they come up as well. So also feel free to email us, askwildman@wildmanweb.com. We've got plenty of other resources and good stuff on our website, wildmanweb.com. But I think that's going to close it up for us this week. Mike, any closing thoughts?
Keep it real.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, Thursday at noon. Check in. Again, we're on our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So pick your poison. We'll see you next Thursday at noon. Thanks.